أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We're going to read chapter 84 tonight. And let's see here. Where we are. Here we are. Okay. Al-Inshiqaq, the rupture. So 25 verses, and we're going to finish it tonight, inshallah. Okay, go ahead, please, Mom.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. When the vacuum is ruptured, and here's her Lord, and the truth is fulfilled, and when the matter loses cohesion, and manifests what is inside it, and becomes a void, and here's her Lord, and the truth is fulfilled. O you human being, indeed you are on an arduous journey to your Lord, and you will meet him. As for the one who receives his record with blessing, he will soon receive an easy reckoning, and he will return to his family joyfully. But the one who receives his record behind his back, he will soon be called to oblivion, and he will enter a raging inferno. Indeed, he used to be happy with his family. Indeed, he used to think that he would never be called to account. Yes, indeed, his Lord was always watching him. Therefore I swear by the dusk, and the night as it covers, and the moon going through its phases, you will indeed ride on classified levels. Then why do they not believe? And when the Quran is recited to them, they do not honor it. On the contrary, the unfaithful are always in denial, and God fully knows their innermost secrets. Therefore, inform them of a painful suffering. As for the faithful who lead a righteous life, reserved for them is an unending reward.
Okay, thank you, mashallah. Very good, very good. Okay. All right, so let's go to the beginning of this chapter and see if there are any questions, any comments, any observations. Sort of leaning towards the end of the revelations of the Quran, so 83rd revelation overall. God again is talking to us about the events that are going to transpire when God actually, his physical existence will destroy this universe. And so in these kind of phraseology, God is talking about the vacuum is ruptured, so the sky basically shatters. And here's our Lord, and the truth is fulfilled. So that's the truth that God has created. So once his physical manifestation to this universe, the universe has no place to exist. So it shatters. And matter loses cohesion. So all of these forces that we thought that's going to work the way they're supposed to work. You see, those forces are inspired by God. Okay? The reason that your body holds together is because of the forces that are balancing every function in your body. And once those balances are disturbed a little bit, then you get sick, or you have pain, and you have all kinds of different ailments. But at that time there are no reasons for those forces. Those forces are expired, so those laws end. So that's what happens. Matter loses cohesion. Remember, now God says that the mountains will be like fluffy wool. Okay, so again, that equivalent to this kind of things that God is discussing here, explaining to us. Manifests what's inside it and becomes a void. Okay, again, and here's the Lord, and the truth is fulfilled. So that's the way it is. Okay. Any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Please.
So, you mentioned the fluffy wool of the mountains
Yes.
Are they really like in terms is what we're looking at actually the illusion? Then is that what they mean by this world is just an illusion? That
No, I mean, yeah. You see, the way that God is describing is that that force of gravity was holding the mountain in place doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
See, so the forces as we know them do not exist anymore. The laws are discontinued. Let's put it this way. Okay, the laws are here for because of the cohesion of this universe that holds it together. And then once God manifestation of His physical presence, there are no reasons for these forces to be around anymore. See, the balance is gone. So gravity is gone. So the righteous would be adapting to the new laws that God has. The other guys, God says they're going to be like scattered locusts, and so they have no way to adapt to this new laws that God has based on the truth.
So there's no really need to be holding on to these things anyway because they are not going to last.
No, they're not going to. Yes, exactly. Okay. This is again 84:7. I want you to a little bit look at this. Okay. This is I have my understanding of these verses are, and then it says that as for the one who received his record, almost everybody has translated this as in his right hand. Okay. And again, this kind of understanding of Yamin is a horrible understanding. Okay, this has this has created a lot of different superstitions, and a lot of people hate people because they're not right-handed. Okay, because they think they are satanic and all kinds of stuff. Yamin actually in Arabic has a meaning, and that meaning means that it is a blessed thing. So that's what it means. It means also oath. Okay, it means um, uh, so and the same thing with the blessed mountain. Okay, uh, everybody has translated on the right side of the mountain. Okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, somebody should really think about that and figure out what does it mean right side of the mountain. Right side of the mountain depends on which view you have of the mountain. Okay, so there are infinitely many right sides of the mountain, so it doesn't make any sense. Okay, but people, as I said, um, they're absolutely fascinated with this nonsense. Okay, so these are the type of things that mistakes that are people making, and nobody questions them ever. You just go along with these, and these things propagate, and it's just a mess. Anyway, so it says with blessing, okay, and then God says that he will soon receive an easy reckoning. Okay, this is the guy who's a righteous person, and he will be blessed with this easy reckoning. Um, his task would be easy for him. He's not owing anything. He has done his righteous work in this universe, and now it's time for him to face God. So he has nothing to fear. Any questions? Any comments?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to make a comment on the khutbah, your khutbah today. It was, I found it so very vital, actually. The point when you said that when we read the Quran, it is not just reading a book. It's a studying a book, and like a student does, having to follow a course, and you want to retain, you want to get something out of it, so as to be able to be successful or to pass your exam. It's like a test that's been given to you. And it's such a simple remark, but it's so impactful, and it really did impact me a lot. And thank you so much for that, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Quran is, we have to practice it. As I said, these kind of things, it has to be lessons to us. Okay, the understanding of the Quran. What does it mean? Okay. And we have to question our own lives and our own understandings. We cannot just go through life being ignorant. Okay? I mean, God says in the Quran in chapter 48, He said they were happy with the pride of the day of ignorance. Okay? Somehow there's a pride in being ignorant. And that is amazing. Okay? I mean, don't they ask themselves, what does it mean, country of Yemen? Have you ever asked yourself? It means right side? Right side of what? Okay? I mean, it means blessed. That place is blessed. Okay? And people don't understand these things, and they never question these things. And, and that's our problem. And, when we read the Quran, we just go through these verses without even realizing what it says. Okay? It said, Janaba Tur al-Ayman. Okay, what does it mean? The right side of the mountain? I mean, you just think about it. What does it mean, the right side of the mountain? Which side is the right side of the mountain? Okay, I mean, somebody has to ask that question. Does that make sense? Is God that careless? I mean, this is amazing. Yeah, it's just, in my mind, I mean, it blows your mind when you think about it. It's how wrong I was. What was I thinking? It's a blessed mountain. He said, by the side of the blessed mountain. That's what it means. The mountain was blessed. That's what God tells Moses. He says all the areas here is blessed.
Absolutely. May I also make another comment? What you mentioned again in the khutbah is the people read the Quran, and although many of them don't understand the Arabic language, and they are told that they will get a lot of credits just by reading the Quran. And in Urdu, the word is sawab, credits. But then it's credit for what when you don't understand what you're reading? Doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Very true.
It's very unfortunate, but that's how it is. I mean, a lot of people are using wrong understanding a lot of words. Okay, because they have really no clue what's going on, and if somebody tells them, they just follow that person. And as I said, they never ask any questions. Why am I doing this? Okay, but these are simple questions that we owe to ourselves. That's what God says. God says, I've given you the brain. You're responsible for using your senses. I've given you the hearing, the eyesight, and the brain, and you're responsible for using them. You can't blame it on other people. You have to think for yourself. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then you have to reject it.
And also, God made many references in the Quran as to those disbelievers that say we heard what we do what our parents told us to do.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Blindly following those guys. absolutely blindly. As I said, that's what God says. They had the pride of day of ignorance. Okay? So somehow they're happy with that, being ignorant about things. But it doesn't. Our actions. We have to think and use our brains.
So I also remember another verse that God says, what if your parents were wrong?
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Salam,
else?
Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam. Yes, go ahead, Shakira.
1 minute. I was looking at, when you were talking about the Yamin being blessed and not right, there were so many things that over the period of a few years you have been telling us, the striking of the woman, the slave, how they sent slaves to the war, that angels kill and, cutting off the hands of the thief. There are so many things that these people believe. Till we corrected it and found it. Yeah, we understand it much better if we use it in the right way. Even if you tell it to other people, they don't even bother to listen.
Yep.
And the verse that I was really, it's been impressed me for a very long time, is the 84, where it says, about the arduous journey that we have.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
That one is always, it's like so scary.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so arduous is a really difficult, difficult task is a simple word. Arduous is far more than just difficult. And in Surah 29, it keeps telling us exactly, we are going to be tested till God actually tells us. We have to make sure that we have to fulfill all those things that He wants us to fulfill before we are going to be selected by Him.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, it's a tough journey, because what happened was we sent to exile. We were all sent to exile in this planet, okay? And now we have to go back to God. We were there with God, okay?
Yes.
God was talking to us. He said, look, do not approach this one tree. But once we were sent to exile, this place, God says, lest you suffer. Okay, so we are coming here, we suffer, and now this is a huge journey that we have to take to go back to God, and it's very arduous. It's not easy. Okay, and you see it. We see it every day of our lives. How difficult this world is. It's not simple. And then if you don't have a foundation of belief in God, then you really suffer doubly in this world. You're never happy. Every day there's misery for you. And that's what God was telling us at the very beginning, and we just ignored it, rejected it.
Yeah. That's why it is that only very few of us will go back to God. Thank you so much, Dr. Fazely.
Thank you.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum salam, Nishat. Yes.
I was thinking about this verse, the right hand and left hand, and quite recently, here, and a very educated couple, and they were forcing their son to write with their right hand because he was left-handed.
Yeah.
And when I asked, and they said because, they didn't say evil, but they said it's not good. I'm like, that's the way his brain works. And a lot of, you can't force that. But, when I think about this, it's like everything else. Even if they translate to right hand or left hand, there's nothing that God says there's anything wrong with anybody with right-handed or left-handed. But they take this and interpret it to justify their stupid traditions, and similar to everything else in Quran that they've taken words out of context and created laws and traditions for themselves, and they do all these evil works, and then they justify it that they're doing it for God.
Yep.
And it's no different than that. Both were very educated people, and when it came to this kind of stuff, the brain just locked. Yeah. And then, we were talking about, they say this is how our parents are doing. These are the same people who don't follow anything their parents are doing other than in this stupid tradition. And they always look down at their parents. They think they're not as smart as they are. But when it comes to this kind of traditions, they follow their parents. And that's such an interesting, contrasting view of if you follow your parents, follow them in everything, not just the stupid things,
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just amazing how the brain that can be smart in some areas can become so dumb in some other, very common sense, obvious areas.
Yeah. Well, again, God in the Quran, it says that Ashabul Maymana, okay, people of the right side. That's how they understand it, okay, and those are the good people. And then Ashabul Mashma, people on the left side, okay, those are bad people, and these kind of things is actually it's very detrimental to our understanding of the Quran. And because we already made up our mind when we read it, so that's the first thing that comes to us. We don't think about different logical things that somebody would think about. They just jump to the superstitious part of it. And and then, like you said, these people who are supposedly educated, they fall for this kind of nonsense and forcing their children to do things that they're not really, they don't have any control over it. Somebody who's left-handed has no control over it.
Yeah, and I've heard that if you force somebody to do that, it actually have negative impact on brain, because the left-hand side, being left-handed, is also connected to some other talents or things that left brain, right brain, and all that kind of stuff. And you're basically impacting more than just writing.
Yep, certainly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very good, very good. Yep.
And another comment was about your khutbah today. It's just amazing how God, Alhamdulillah, sends His messages to us. So every year during Ramadan, I try to, read the whole Quran in the month. And this year, for whatever reason, I'm a little bit behind. So last night, I was just thinking, there's still a lot of Quran left, so I better speed up. So I was going through, chapters very quickly, just with the intention to finish it up before the end of the Ramadan. And then you had the khutbah today, and I was smiling because I was just, even last night as I was doing that, I was just thinking, this is not right. I shouldn't rush through this. And, God in all His greatness, with all the creations, and we're talking about the magnificence of His creation, is in the heart and mind of every one of us, and communicate with us and lead us to the right path if we start to do something wrong. And it's a blessing that I was just thinking, thank you, God, that in all your greatness, something as, tiny as a creature like me and my thoughts, you still give me the message that don't do this. Don't read Quran, rush through it. It's not a test. It's that you have to finish by certain time and stuff like that. So, thank you.
Okay, well, I heard this a lot because sometimes, people tell me that, oh, you were just talking to me. And usually that's not my case. I just talk in general because that goes on all the time, you see. And so, I was guilty of some of this myself. And then, you come to a realization that, look, this is not the way it was meant to be. I remember that Rashad was telling me about when he said that he read he said that he was going to translate the the Quran. He said that basically for his family consumption, and because he didn't like any of these translations. And so he said it took him like a couple of days to do the first one, Al-Fatah, and then he said he got to the second one, and then he went in there and he said that the first verse says Alif Lam Mim. And he said he actually promised God that he would not move from one verse to another verse unless he understands it. Okay? And that's when God actually revealed that to him, that there is a meaning to this Alif Lam Mim. And so he said it took him 4 years. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. Okay? It's all come together, and every week we are learning more and more and more how these things actually mesh together. And that's the idea.
That's so true. And I mean, also it just, as you said, you're giving a general khutbah, but it talks to each one of us individually separately. And that just shows the greatness of God, And if something like this doesn't make you really bow down and prostrate, I don't know what else,
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salam alaikum, Ali.
Alaikum assalam. Yes.
I was just thinking about the Surah 78 where they ask about the great news. So I was contemplating on it, and imagine the news of the day of resurrection are so horrendous while we are living in this world with comfort, with good food, good dwellings, good resting place, etc. It's all of a sudden it's going to go away, and it's a horrible thing for example, God says that the vacuum is ruptured. I mean, and the matter loses cohesion. That means the destruction of this whole universe or multiverse. I don't know if it's multiverse or universe. No matter, just taking this universe itself, 2 trillion galaxies that are there in our universe are going to be completely gone all of a sudden, destroyed. And the universe is not that small. It's apparently, I read that it's 90 billion light years. So this great universe is going to be poof gone, and people will see, those who were questioning the day of judgment. The people who died are getting resurrected, and all these things. So how is one going to describe the great news? The great news are greater than the great news, I was thinking. It's too much.
Yeah, of course, yes. Yep. Yeah, when a baby is born, started getting used to the laws of this universe, okay, because they're not used to it. They come in here and then they learn little by little what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to walk and things like that, and then they conform to the laws, gravity and everything, and then they later on learn that they are not supposed to stick some metallic thing into an electrical outlet and things like that, so they understand things. But at the very beginning, they don't know. So, and then these people who are sort of resurrecting on that day, all of a sudden they are faced with this huge realm. They have no clue how it works. And if they are guilty, they cannot conform to it. They just don't have the what do you call it, the tools that what God says that they will be asked to prostrate, but they can't. Okay, remember in chapter 68 what God says about that, and that's terrible. And so then God says that you were asked before when you were whole and able to prostrate, but they refused. So these are the people who did not do their contact prayers. Okay, they were happy with these kind of things, Easter and Christmas and things like that, and the birthday of this saint and the birthday of this prophet or whatever. Okay, and these people they never did anything righteous. Okay, they never gave to charity, and so they wake up on that day and my God, I can't do anything here. And
Yes.
God says you're blind. Okay, how do you realize I'm blind when I was a seer before? Well, this realm doesn't use those eyes anymore. It uses different eyes, and you don't have those eyes. You are not, you're not whole and able now. So God is warning us about that.
And God is warning very strongly, describing it quite in detail, yet it's not as bad as it is really going to be. Nevertheless, it's very, very bad. So when these people read it, who deny the day of resurrection, when they read it, apparently they don't believe in it. They don't believe, no wonder, because if somebody understands how bad this is, they'll believe, they'll say, yes, I don't want to be exposed to all that in misery. Maybe I should be exposed to that with ease. So they don't understand it at all. They think it's just a writing, it's just, as you were saying, a book to read, but they don't contemplate on it and say, wow, if it's really going to happen, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Well, we just read it right here. It says that we just read it. Said that when the Quran is recited, they do not honor it. Okay. So, and yep, there it is. And when the Quran is recited to them, they do not honor it.
Honor it, yeah.
So, yep. As I said, that's what I said today. Okay.
Yes,
we have to really take the Quran to heart and understand it and retain it. Okay. And and practice it. Because if you don't do that, then we make really silly decisions in this life, which has nothing to do with faith and the Quran. Okay, and we make a lot of mistakes.
And the description of hell is even worse, because that's going to be the abode for the bad people. So that's even worse. So they don't take anything seriously. In other words, they do not honor anything. Nothing. No wonder they don't believe in it.
Yes, indeed. Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other comments, observation, questions about this chapter or anything else? Friday we are going to have our study again on the month of power, inshallah. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum salam, Jerry. Yes, go ahead, please.
Alhamdulillah. I just want to say alhamdulillah for the message. Surah 84, ayat 6, 84:6 talked about the arduous journey. Everyone who watches us making prayers and everything, they think that what we do is so difficult and so hard, but you just really hit it on the head when you said that. For us, once we really we're striving hard, and it's so easy to just so, and then we got Ramadan. People look at what we do; it's so arduous. The life is so hard, but when you get connected and you really feel God, you act like you said, it's so easy. It's so we like that we run to the prayers, and it really is not as hard as people make it out to be. As far as so alhamdulillah for that. And also, you made a note last week about Juma last week about why God, it stuck with me all week, where you said that why God is so popular. God is so popular because He forgives and everyone loves. That was so amazing. So just alhamdulillah for everything, and this what we're doing. This journey is. They may use the word arduous. We understand, but when you like you said, when we striving and God blesses us, and sometimes it gets scary because everything is so open, all the doors is opening up so easily. Everything feels so good. It's really, really, no matter who's around you, this gives you the strength you need to walk these streets, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Very good. Thank you.
Dr. Fazely, the night of power is on 27th. I'm sorry, on Thursday night.
Thursday, yeah. You see, the last night is the Sunday night.
Yes.
So Sunday night is the 30th.
Okay.
Friday night. I'm sorry. Saturday night would be the 29th, and Friday night would be 28th. Thursday night would be the 27th.
Okay, so inshallah we're going to have Quran reading Thursday.
Yes,
Right?
it was the same time.
Okay.
6:30.
Thank you.
Your time.
8:30. Yes, 8:30. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum again, Ali.
Walaikum salam. Yes.
About the day of night of power. This universe that I just said was so huge. So this universe plus all the creation of all the other universes and the entire creation of Allah was awed about Muhammad's journey to the high heaven and his receiving the Quran in his heart. They were awed. Now this in itself is a great thing to observe, that how great a phenomena it must have been that the entire creation was awed by this event. I always wonder about that.
Yep. I mean, this is the ultimate thing, Tasneem. I mean, I pray to God, and I really, sometimes I get upset, and because I cannot transmit what I know from these things to everybody, and I'm at a loss how to do it. And
you're doing great, Ali.
Yeah, to my mind, I think that people really do not appreciate it. That should be appreciated. This is absolutely mind-boggling. What I was telling you today, it really should not be like that. Okay? The fact that it falls into place keeps going back to 9619. It goes back to 9127 over and over and over again. Okay? These are absolutely mind-boggling. And they shouldn't be like that. It should not be like that. And again, those people right off the bat, they owe to themselves to ask these questions from themselves. Okay? Just why? Just that word why. Why is it like this? Okay? So, this is absolutely this is as I said, this shows that the entire creation was based on these things. And as I told you is that, and I've been telling people that it's not based on equations. And you cannot describe this based on equations. This is just it's a waste of time. It's a waste of efforts. It's easy to say, and people will not get anywhere. Like trying to find out what the origin of this universe was. God describes it to us, and that's enough for me. But anyway, according to these laws of Big Bang and all this other nonsense, okay, those are all based on mathematical equations, and you cannot describe it like that.
Yes.
You can, because equations did not exist. That's what God says in the Quran. God says very clearly. Then He inspired the laws for every universe. That's what He did. Okay. So He says then He summa stawa ala al-arsh. Then He balanced the dominion. And that dominion contains all of these universes that He created. Okay? So they work based on these equations. But they were not created based on those equations.
Yes.
The creation is based on the truth. That's what God says. Otherwise you cannot create.
Vice versa. The creation is based on the numbers?
Based on the truth. The numbers are the truth.
Yeah, numbers are the truth.
Numbers are the truth, but those numbers that I'm showing you every day, they do not have mathematical equations. So the challenge when I say that this number index is 195, for example, okay? The super prime, which is 9619, its index is 195. That there is no equation that can give me that relation. That's the key, okay? So it means there is a realm that doesn't work based on equation.
I guess the truth doesn't need any equations or something. It's just the
No,
truth.
equation was just designed for these universes. That's what God says.
Yes.
He says that very clearly. He says, ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْعَرْشِ. Okay? Then he bowed to dominion. Then, okay, there is an event that happens after the creation. Okay?
Everything is so great. It's hard even to take it in, like brain gets overwhelmed. So much is great. All the narrations that come from the Quran, there's too much.
There is a lot of information there. A lot of information in the Quran. And God has put it in there. As I said, when we read these chapters, we really do not pay attention. We talked about he frowned. Okay? Immediately, well, Muhammad made a mistake. Of course, he's a human being, he made a mistake. That's it. Okay? No. He's describing who this man was. That's what God is telling us. As I said, he could have completely eliminated that surah. Because it's not good for him. Okay? He's not saying he was a nice guy, he did a good thing. He says, no, this guy made a mistake. He paid all the attention to the rich guy and ignored the blind man. He says, how did you know that this guy? So the guy was an honest guy, so he wrote it down as it was inspired to him. You see?
Yes.
So he tells us about his honesty. We don't pay attention to that, okay? Every time I talk to him, okay, fine.
He was known for his honesty.
Yeah, I mean, known whatever, but God is telling us.
Yes.
Okay? That surah, he frowned, number 80, tells us that he was an honest guy. Otherwise, he wouldn't do that. Okay?
Yes. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Welcome, Salam Shakara. Yes.
I just wanted to, I've been thinking about this for a while, that, all the primes that have been discovered, they're coming into the ultimate mathematics again and again, and new ones all the time. That also makes you understand that God is the one who actually, this math has all the nuances and different kinds of prime numbers, semi-prime numbers, all of them, so many different, they're all coming, and we're learning from them without even knowing what they were. Before we didn't know anything, and now we know so many different, all meshed together, connecting together, and creating the Quran.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, the point is that but the point is that when you see these numbers, okay, there is no way that these verses are wrong. Because see, I falsehood cannot do that. See, I cannot generate those numbers with falsehood.
Yeah.
It just would not do that. You see, so the generator is the truth. And so, as I always say, that no matter when you look at that, okay, that idea that 195th superprime is 9619, and 195 is the 19th sphenic number, okay? Chapter 96 has 19 verses, and 195 happens to be the numerical value of Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad in chapter 19. Why? Somebody should tell me why. Somebody who's listening to that owes that question to himself. Okay? If they do not ask that question of themselves, they are responsible to God on the day of judgment. They're going to tell you, look, this man told you this. What happened? What did you do? Okay? That is the key. That's what we have to think. That's how we should think. To think any other way is not fair. It's not fair to God. Okay? And
And
God
it's also,
is based on 19. That's what he says in chapter 74.
yeah. But also when you look at the exponents of these primes and know how long primes are, I mean, the connections are so clear, presenting it to us in a very simple form that anyone can understand. But in reality, it's gigantic. It's impossible to even imagine when you look at these numbers that no one can do it. It's impossible, and it's a simple thing to look and see that you're not making it up at all. It's not possible.
You can't make it up. That's what I'm saying, because if it was falsehood, you cannot make it up. It won't work.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, it won't.
It doesn't work.
No. It's impossible because it's coming from a place where we have absolutely no knowledge of.
Yeah.
We cannot do it. We don't have that knowledge at all. Our knowledge is so minute.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fazely.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other comments or question, observations? Some of you guys probably have to break your fast now on these West Coast, huh? Okay, so let's do our usual 2 Al-Fatihas, and so we quit for tonight, okay? And then we'll hear from you on Thursday night, inshallah. Okay?